What's up, your boy Vaughn, another reaction, and today's video we have David was arrested, now what, by UVXCS.
Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're not. David
I
has
seen a nigga got arrested.
finally been arrested.
Yeah, what took y'all so long? Like, what the fuck?
We in real time watched this investigation unfold. Now, there's not too much information on the logistical evidence of why they feel like they finally had enough of the warrant and a full-blown arrest, but if you've been keeping any form of an eye on this case, there's a couple of different things that make it pretty obvious on why this finally happened. I mean, for God's sake, I made a video on this back in like September of 2025 while he was still on tour, and I never looked back because I wanted the full story to come out. Now, of course, because he's apparently being held without bail, the full story ain't out there yet. But looking around this case and not just having tunnel vision, it's pretty obvious that this nigga was involved. So let's look at why it took them this long and what may come up in this trial. And before we even get into that, I've been seeing people criticize the LAPD for taking this long to send out an arrest, and it's been blowing my mind because people don't understand why it took them so long. Like, just because it looks like he's involved doesn't mean they can just go and arrest him. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, they have to.
because the girl body was frozen, so it was hard to find DNA. I don't even think they still found DNA because her body was frozen, my nigga, like frozen solid.
Do a
And
full-on
ain't they said it was chopped up, like
investigation.
like damn, bro. Nigga, whoever killed her, bro. Your ass smart. Nigga thought he was. Nigga think he Ted Bundy or something like.
Literally any other crime that gets committed. But what that investigation looked like, well, we don't know yet. But let's look at what we do know. This all started because of the headline that came out about it, right? A decomposing body of a teenage girl was found inside of the front trunk of a Tesla that was registered then. The police were originally tipped off because of a foul odor, quote unquote, coming from a car in the impound lot. The fact that the body, my God, this is rough. The fact that the body had been there long enough to reach such an advanced state of decomposition immediately lets us know that the car was there for days, probably even longer than that. So from a legal standpoint, this is very clearly a horrific look. Even if we decide to ignore literally every other thing we're going to talk about, this is a very strong argument for probable cause. Let's get that out the way. The victim, universe rest her soul, was Celeste Hernandez, a girl who had been missing for literal months before she was found. During this investigation, thanks to damn near the internet probably, but I'm 100% certain they found out that they were connected to each other pretty early on in the investigation. But they had to lay groundwork to figure out how, the fact that the family said she was dating a boy named David, the matching tattoos. I mean, there's too much here to just ignore. One thing the police love to get from an investigation involving a young woman especially is motive. Maybe I listen to too many true crime podcasts, shout out Mr. Ballin, but more often than not, when a girl gets murdered, the love interest is almost most of the time, if not half the time, the actual suspect who did it. Mind you, she went missing like 2 or 3 times before this, so again, it just looks extremely suspect on his end, and I'm sure they'll eventually connect the dots. Now, one thing y'all may have forgotten about was that a week after all of this came out, the detectives that were on this case issued a search warrant to a home that was close to where the Tesla, David's Tesla, by the way, was towed. Unfortunately for the people, we don't know what was collected as evidence. They damn near could have found some crazy shit we simply just don't know about, but we do know that David and his manager were staying at this place and moved out like right before this warrant went into action. This is the same place where police had taken electronics like laptops and phones in as evidence, which yet again, it takes a lot of time to comb through that stuff. So we don't know what they found there either. Now, another thing is that the body was found mutilated. I know there was a rumor going around that she was decapitated, but that was not true. What is true is that, first of all, the body was in a trunk. That's a massive indicator of foul play. And with the state of the decomposition, again, it was hard to determine what exactly happened to her. But because the autopsy was sealed, at least until the trial, we still don't even know exactly how she passed away. But I would imagine, you know, with how she was found, it wasn't natural. That much is obvious. But regardless of all that, it highly suggests that someone tried to conceal this up. And that's something the jury is definitely going to keep an eye on. Then there's the absolute worst part of this case, at least for David, is that this nigga was not very cooperative during the investigation that took place over these past few months. Despite what his PR team was saying, and I feel like they were only saying this to save face, well, his face, but they were saying David was doing what he could to aid the police in the investigation, which was, I guess, not true, because other sources close to the case claimed that
Yeah, you not gonna snitch and say who killed this girl. Like you have obviously had something to do with it, gang. Like you not gonna snitch, gang. Like you go just not go snitch. Tell these police who did this shit, gang. Get this shit over with. Speedy trial.
he did not assist investigators. And in fact,
Now, let me find out David not trying to snitch on who killed this girl. Like,
lawyered up pretty fast. Now, to be fair, ain't nothing wrong with
let me
not
find out David keeping it solid more than Gunner.
saying anything. I mean, goddamn, one of the first parts of the Miranda rights read to you is that, you have the right to remain silent. But here's the thing about that. When you take into account, this man has a whole song where he alludes to killing a girl. He made a literal song about the girl in question that passed away. They were clearly involved with each other, and the discords were wiped. The detectives were probably like, yeah, we probably need to get a warrant. Never mind the fact that a key person in this failed to appear as a witness in a criminal proceeding tied to this case. That would be Neo Langston, someone who apparently was a photographer for David. He was arrested in Montana, of all places, at his mother's crib for not showing up. Now, just a few days after that, he bailed out for $60,000, and you have to wonder why he tried to back out of that. At this moment, though, it's unclear if Langston testified or agreed to testify after he was arrested, since grand jury proceedings are usually not public. Another thing the jury is going to look at with a side eye. And speaking of jury and things of that nature, apparently, and I'll just read it verbatim, the case is expected to be presented to the Major Crimes Division, at which point prosecutors will review the facts and evidence to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to file charge. At this time, additional information is not available, but we will share an update Monday once a filing decision has been made. So, why did they arrest him now? Well, we've got direct evidence, a damn near confirmed relationship, possibly even sexual, with the victim, which is a whole other can of worms that's for sure somehow going to come up during this trial. Signs of foul play and concealment of the body and expanding witness testimony. All of this gave the prosecutors enough to go from investigating to handcuffs. What I personally think is going to happen next, the charges are going to be, in my opinion, homicide, which is fucking ironic, abuse of a corpse, which is damn near guaranteed if hiding the body was involved, which, by the way, is easier to prove than murder alone. That's why I think that's going to come up. Tampering with evidence because literal steps were taken to hide this, and maybe conspiracy too. Now, because we don't know what they're going to use against him, we don't know how strong this case is. That's something nobody can predict yet.
Yeah, I think David did it. I hope the nigga did it for this. We could throw the nigga in jail. But y'all think he did it? Like,
So more information comes out at least. But with electronics taken and physical evidence at play here,
what if he ain't do this shit? Like, bro.
I'm sure over the past few months they've built a mountain of shit that
Cause he was a rich artist living in LA. Wouldn't he pay somebody to kill a girl for him? Like pay somebody murder for hire? Like I don't. A part of me think he ain't do it. Like I don't know. Somebody else did this shit and he paid them to do it. And I don't know, but I hope the nigga did it so we could throw his ass in jail. Like,
they're gonna possibly.
but if they can't find out who did it, obviously he gonna get arrested. He gonna get charged for the shit. You know what I'm saying? They gonna throw him under the jail.
We slap this nigga with. At the end of the day, y'all, in law, what I've learned listening to a bunch of different murder investigations is that there's two distinctive things that come up when these things play out.
But yeah, and the body was found in his car, so maybe the nigga did do this. I don't know.
This looks really bad, but he's fine. Versus, we can prove that he's behind this beyond a reasonable doubt. And y'all, the prosecutors need the second one to move forward with the case. But the defense just needs to chip away at the second one until it starts to become more like the first one. We won't know, at least for a while, though. All I can say about this case is that it's genuinely insane how this all played out so far. I mean, I remember watching this dude play Fortnite. I remember actually listening to some of his songs. So
Nah, I never listened to this nigga music, and I never watched him play Fortnite. The only song I know about him is "Hopeless Romantics." What the song called? Suicide, Romantic Suicide, or something. That's the only song I know about him.
I'm just like processing it, I guess. Like this shit is so disgusting. And I really don't know if he's guilty or not because innocent until guilty, but he does look guilty as shit. Rest in peace to Celeste on some real stuff. Like, one thing I hate about this case the most is that her death is honestly just getting overshadowed simply because of who's involved with this case. I find that honestly one of the most tragic parts about the case, honestly. But anyway, I'm UVXEX. I might do an update, I guess, once more information comes out again. But I love y'all. Later.
It's going to obscure my view from the gate. If you try to run or you try to resist, you will get hit with a can't hurt. I got you. If you try to run, you're going to out on premises and you will get bit. I got you. All right, so the gate is locked. I'm going to open the gate. Sir, open the gate.
Yeah, my nigga David, if you did this, you need to hopefully you get charged with it and you go to jail for doing this. You know what I'm saying? But if you ain't do this, nigga, you better tell the cops who did this, nigga. Let me find out you ain't cooperating, nigga. You don't want to snitch and tell the police who killed Celeste. You trying to not snitch. But you better tell the police who did this shit if you ain't do it your damn self.